Hi there. Today we're just going to briefly go over what it takes to start a business in the state of Illinois. So not all businesses will be able to file online with the Secretary of State. There's a few exceptions to that. Corporations and limited liability companies, if they're just forming a new domestic entity, they'll be able to. But for the most part, you're going to be downloading a PDF form. This is just a general overview of exactly what you might need to do. It's not really meant to be a detailed tutorial. We have a few of those linked in this page here. But basically, we go over corporations, limited liability companies, and partnerships here on our site. One of the main functions that we talk about is performing a business entity search. Now, this is usually done to make sure that the name that you plan on registering under is completely unique to you in the state of Illinois. Now, the peculiar thing about this state is in most you can't have a partnership with the same name as a corporation, but instead they've offered two different search functions, one for limited liability companies and corporations and another for partnerships. So it's really only partnerships that can't have the same name. I think that's due to the fact that it's such a large state. Illinois is, I think, the fifth largest state by population, and eventually they just start canceling themselves out. At any rate, this is actually also the first step that you'll take usually in registering, at least the one that we suggest is perform this business entity search. It's not guaranteed that if no results come up, your name is available, but it will give you a pretty good idea, pretty good idea, and then you can go ahead and file afterwards. Also, if you want to reserve your business name, if you don't plan on filing right away, you can do that as well. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. The next step in terms of this tutorial is just choosing your entity type. Now we've got a lot here. We've got the corporations, foreign and domestic. There's actually 5 different corporation types for domestic corporations. We'll go through all those later on in another video. Also, there's limited liability companies. You have 2 different types of limited liability companies here in Illinois, another unique feature of the state, and then partnerships. You have just a standard limited partnership and a limited liability partnership. As I said before, click on each one of these. You're going to get a detailed tutorial of that filing process. So moving on to step 3, assuming that your PDF application has been completely filled out or your online filing forms have been filled out and you're at the point now where you've got the credit card page open or you've signed the bottom of your PDF, printed PDF probably, and you're ready to write a check. Now, the filing fees vary greatly between different entities. So they'll be as low as $50 for a foreign not-for-profit corporation or a domestic not-for-profit corporation, but as high as $750 for domestic series LLCs, same with foreign series. So make sure that you are aware of your filing fee, obviously. If you're filing online, they're going to tack on an additional $100 as well. Just because it's going to be automatically expedited. When you file online, it gets sent, and with 24 hours, you're going to get feedback as to whether your application is accepted or not. After you've provided this, you can mail the forms along with, if you're a foreign entity, you're going to need to provide either a certified copy. This is exclusive to foreign corporations. But you can also provide a certificate of good standing. That's for foreign LLCs and partnerships. And you mail those along with a duplicated form and your filing fee to the Secretary of State, Department of Business Services here, and you await correspondence confirming or rejecting your application. Like before, we talked about the name reservation a little bit. I mean, it's pretty obvious as to what it is. It'll hold the rights to your name for up to 90 days before you file with the Secretary of State. Now, the filing fees for this they vary just as much as the original filing fees. You got $25 for partnerships, $50 for corporations, and $300 for some reason for LLCs. They seem to really charge LLCs a lot in this state. I'm not exactly sure why. If you want more information on how to go about performing a name reservation, click on our tutorial here. We also have a certificate of good standing. We go over this a little bit in our site here. This is, I mean, again, it's exactly what it sounds like. You apply for it with the state. You need to be in good standing, which means you're up to date with all your filing fees and all your annual reports. And it's usually just to prove to a foreign Secretary of State or similar authority that you are a legitimate entity and that you are of legal status. Also, sometimes banks will ask for it if you're applying for large loans, things like that. So you go ahead, or you go about getting it through a business entity search. We've got the tutorial for that here as well. Please take the time to click on those and educate yourself a little further. Now, the agreements for each entity type, corporations, LLCs, and partnerships, are essentially the same thing. It's just a guideline for how you plan on operating the internal affairs of your business, how you plan on organizing them, I should say. Now, when you write out your original articles or certificate, there'll be provisions for the board of directors of your corporation or any other provisions you might want to add and file with the Secretary of State so that you can have legal proof of it. Now, what you can also do is you can click on our links here, and we provided a free template for each one of these corporate bylaws, LLC operating agreement, or partnership agreement. And on there, you'll find all the provisions you need. We recommend that you look this over with your attorney just to make sure that it's suitable for your entity type, but it can be really helpful for the organization of the internal affairs of your business. And finally, after you finish forming your entity, this doesn't apply for foreign entities because if you've hired employees or performed any kind of financial transaction, you obviously have an EIN. If you filed taxes, you had an EIN. At any rate, this is just so that the Internal Revenue Services can identify you as a legitimate business. You can apply for this, and you should apply for this immediately after you're accepted for formation. You can do this online. Click here, we've got a tutorial for that, or you can do this through Form SS4, which is a PDF document, and send it in. Still, I recommend that you take a look at this tutorial to find out exactly what you might need to enter there. But at any rate, this is just a basic guide. I hope that was helpful. Feel free to click on our other tutorials and learn a little bit more. Hope that was helpful. Best of luck.